and thank you for joining us as we discuss the role of the facilitator in public issues education. As education and communication professionals, we are sometimes placed in a facilitator's role when we least expect it. Therefore, it's important that we understand the role of the facilitator so that we can improve our education and communication efforts. In the book Facilitating with Ease by Benz in 2005, it is stated that the purpose of facilitation is enhanced group effectiveness. A facilitator's job is to support everyone do their best thinking and to help the group members accomplish and do what they cannot do well on their own. To do this, a facilitator must encourage full participation, promote mutual understanding, foster inclusive solutions, and cultivate shared responsibility. You may also need a facilitator if you need to clarify roles and responsibilities that were not determined beforehand, if you need to resolve high-stakes conflicts, if you are introducing new technology into the workplace, if trust is low in the group, if power is unbalanced in the group, if time or efficiency is an issue, if your participants are very diverse, if you need to make long-term plans, if you want stronger, more sustainable agreements, or if the group leader wants someone else to manage the group process so that he or she can participate in the work of the group. So, reflecting on all those reasons to need a facilitator, which of the following groups would benefit from a facilitator? A group that is meeting to share reports and trade information. B, a group that meets monthly to discuss routine decisions, tasks, and scheduling. Or C, a group that is meeting to design a new dropout prevention program for the public school. Well, in fact, all of these are correct. The decision to enlist a facilitator depends largely on the group's goals and makeup. If the goal is to design a solution to a difficult issue, such as a long-term program, a facilitator knows how to support and maintain dialogue that will result in stronger agreements. A facilitator will also help the group develop a shared framework from which to work with groups that have diverse participants with a variety of experiences and values. A good facilitator will often spend 50% of their time planning, 30% of their time following up, but only 20% of their time in the actual meeting. Prior to the meeting, roles can be divided between the facilitator and the person in charge. What's the difference between those two roles? Well, the facilitator discusses agenda items, topics, and goals with the person in charge, gets topics and goals defined by the person in charge, suggests activities and time estimates for the meeting, and does not present the agenda. In contrast, the person in charge of the meeting does identify the topics, goals, and time involvement for agenda planning. The person in charge decides the meeting topics and possible goals for each, considers options and validates the final agenda, presents the agenda at the meeting and explains objectives for each item, and decides whether it is appropriate and useful to seek feedback on agenda topics from participants. Ultimately, the functions of a facilitator go back to the original four things. Number 1, encouraging full participation. Number 2, promoting mutual understanding. Number 3, fostering inclusive solutions. And number 4, cultivating shared responsibilities. Now let's review each of these functions in more detail and discuss what we should practice and avoid within each function. So for function 1, which is encouraging full participation, we want to practice drawing participants out. We want to practice reducing criticism. We want to practice providing time for thoughts and supporting all ideas. We want to practice listening actively. And we want to practice assuring that the ideas of the less articulate participants are heard and understood. Now we want to avoid allowing participants to criticize. We want to avoid allowing the loudest participants to take over. We want to avoid interruptions or reaching conclusions before all are heard. And we want to avoid scolding or criticizing those who dominate or do not voice opinions. Moving on to function 2, which is promoting mutual understanding, we want to practice taking time to understand everyone's perspective. We want to practice listening to other perspectives with respect. We want to practice accepting misunderstandings, and we want to practice staying impartial, and we want to keep listening. But we want to avoid moving too quickly before positions and interests are heard and understood. We want to avoid concentrating on all the differences, and we want to avoid the expectations that participants will change their positions quickly. Moving on to function 3, which is fostering inclusive solutions. We want to practice staying focused on inclusive alternatives. We want to practice engaging in divergent thinking. And we want to remember that it is natural to struggle when building shared understanding. We also want to practice creating solutions that actually reflect. Things we want to avoid are adopting a win-lose mentality or allowing sales jobs and rationalizations and critiques. We want to avoid being discouraged by the difficulties in the understanding, and we want to avoid allowing the focus on the inclusive solution to be lost. For function 4, cultivating shared responsibilities, we want to practice creating a culture in which the group leader endorses the value of shared responsibility. We want to practice developing procedures and skills to make the process work. We want to practice inspiring group members to take risks and be supportive. Having said that, we want to avoid deferring to the group's leaders and experts' opinions. We want to avoid reverting to the business as usual dependency. We want to avoid allowing group members to feel powerless. And we want to avoid losing focus on the goal of creating solutions the group created and supports. So keeping those 4 functions in mind, the 2005 book titled Facilitating with Ease by Benz mentions several core practices of a facilitator. These include staying neutral, listening actively, asking questions, paraphrasing, synthesizing ideas, staying on track, giving and receiving feedback, testing assumptions, collecting ideas, and providing summaries. In closing, we hope you now understand the role of a facilitator in public issues education. We will leave you with this quote from the book, Facilitator's Guide to Participatory Decision Making. When a facilitator effectively performs these functions, they strengthen the skills, awareness, and confidence of the individuals who work in that group, strengthen the structure and capacity of the group, and vastly increase the likelihood that the group will develop sustainable agreements. Thank you for joining us.